we're up to the Golden State Warriors and looking at iconic images in franchise history. And actually, if you think back with the Warriors, they've actually had a little bit of you know, there's moments probably back 20 years ago, 90 sort of thing, again, that you could look at iconic moments from them. We're talking about the Run TMC era. You probably even going back to like the Baron Davis. I guess we didn't select any Baron Davis sort of era. They had the upset win, I believe, was it over the Jazz or Mavs? Jazz or Mavs? Come
It
on,
was
help me
the, I
out.
think it was the, I think it was the Mavs. They
Mavs,
beat the
yeah.
Mavs as the We Believe.
Correct, correct. The We Believe Warriors, yeah. And there's that dunk, I believe, on Kirilenko. Yeah, the Baron Davis dunk Kirilenko. You could definitely pick that as a highlight moment for the Warriors. And then, they transitioned through the Monte Ellis era, sorry. And then obviously then, here we are, Steph Curry. And, Klay Thompson, Draymond, and then KD came along. And I think this moment or this image that I've selected, which is the Steph Curry pull up three from like just past half court over the OKC Thunder um, is iconic in a sense because we selected Dame Lillard game winners, yeah, for Portland, but this preceded that, if I recall correctly, because it was just now this is an era of half court line became the offensive floor. Yeah, back when we started playing basketball, you probably never even thought about that. I don't know about you, man. Okay, when I started playing basketball, you would think, oh, I can score up to the 3 point line. Yeah, that 3 point line almost dictated that's where you score from. Yeah, you could get to the three, shoot a three, but you get your feet to the line, you shoot it from there. Yeah, that's it. Okay. No one really thought about because no one did it. Yeah, about how I shoot this from 3 meter, 3 feet back. Yeah, 6 feet back. All right, at half court. And the sort of the ease of Steph Curry coming over half court, pulling up here, draining this shot that just made it look like a regular shot. Yeah, it wasn't like a Hail Mary. It wasn't like we'll fling it at the ring or something like that and it just went in. Yeah. It was like we'll just pull up and just shoot this and drain it and get the W here. Really highlighted this whole era of basketball as what it is now in 2023, I think. So not only I think is an iconic image for the Warriors, and they've had many, obviously, with the success over the last few years now, that I think it's an iconic image for the game of basketball. Okay, I think it's an iconic image for the game of basketball. And yeah, look, obviously, you've gone for a team image there. I can't argue that, but I guess, they talked me into it.
Well, it's the def lineup, right? So obviously Steph Curry's got a multitude of highlights. When you think of the Golden State Warriors in, I guess, the last 10 years, you've got Klay Thompson's 60-point game off like four dribbles or something like that. You got his 37 and a quarter. You've got his threes record. That's just what he's done. You've got KD's shot over LeBron in the finals. You've even got I did contemplate the whole my next chapter. Just to get another meme in there, but I decided against it. Obviously, Steph Curry, the ankle breaker and Chris Paul, the dribbling between the Clippers, this OKC shot, uh, like the Celtics game that he had recently, Draymond punching Jordan Poole. I mean, for the Warriors, right? So much has happened in the last 10 years that I think I went with this one because the reason why this is iconic, we talk a lot about the best teams ever in NBA history, and statistically, this is it. This is it. Everyone's going to do the whole like, oh, but they didn't have a big, and like, oh, what are the? This was the most potent offensive team of all time, right? The defensive switching, the offensive shooting, the spacing, the pace. There are some games like it's difficult to articulate because I can't give you raw stats, but there are some games where they're playing a team and within 5 minutes the lead has exploded up to 20 points from four. Like they just pumped teams from time to time. When they acquired KD, the league collectively stopped trying, right? Like most teams backed away from being competitive. Only Houston in the West really gave them a run. And obviously the Cavs were the only team in the East that were trying to make it back to the finals. And no one really succeeded against this lineup. And the only thing that stopped us from getting a three-peat, one of the only three-peats since the 2000s, was a KD Achilles and a Klay Thompson ACL, right? And the fact that two major injuries have to happen to two of your best players just to go down 4-2 is is to me it's iconic. That's probably the greatest team assembled so far.
I'm gonna have to totally disagree with you. I can't accept, you suggesting that this Warriors team is the greatest team of all time when you've got the 72-10 Bulls and a ring. I guess you're sort of really having a short memory here if you're suggesting that these five players is the best team of all time. And I pulled out the win-loss record. They won sort of 67, 58, 57 games in those years that KD was there. Nothing to sneeze about, don't get me wrong. But they didn't crack 70 games. Yeah. They won 2 out of 3 rings. Sure, injuries occurred, but you know what? That's I don't know. We could. This is a whole nother maybe a topic to debate. Yeah, is an injury an excuse or a legitimate asterisk? Yeah, and maybe that sounds a bit harsh. Yeah, maybe that sounds a bit harsh that you can't say an injury is an excuse. Yeah, it happened. Yeah, it happened, and so on and so forth. But but at the same time, there's so many franchises and moments and so on and so forth that you go, oh well, an injury occurred. Oh, that's why we lost. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, is that sort of what it is? And then you then go and look at teams like the Bulls. Yeah, because to me they continue to be the benchmark, right? 6-0 in the finals, 72-10 with the ring. MJ and all the things that he did there is the GOAT, and I've been clear about my stance that he's the GOAT in that sort of way that they had no excuses. What, they stayed healthy? Was that just pure luck? Like, is that there's some components there that you need to factor in. And so you could then say, well, KD and Clay, for whatever reasons they got injured, that could have been happened differently. I don't know, perhaps. Okay, but look, I think the Warriors it's actually, you opened with, this is the lineup of death, and the lineup of death actually in my head is the one with Harrison Barnes. Now, you might go, I don't know. I'd love for you to respond to that, because in my head, if you go to the Warriors lineup of death, it was Harrison Barnes before KD. Yeah, and KD replaced Harrison Barnes. Okay. But they had success in that lineup of death, and they basically upgraded a piece there. And I guess that's where I'm sort of like, the original lineup of death was Harrison Barnes.
Okay. I'm gonna steer away from even engaging with that because I'm gonna go back to why the Warriors are the greatest team of all time. They didn't win 72. I agree with you. They won 67 games. And did you know, and I'm learning this for real, like in real time as I'm reading this article, KD missed 20 of those games. So let's do a hypothetical here. If KD played all of those 20 games that he missed, do they win 5 more games? Do they win 5 more games? That's a
Maybe,
that's a
maybe,
question that you
but
need
but,
to
but
answer
we're
without
talking
getting
about
paid.
hypotheticals here. What if Brandon Roy had a
Cool.
career, then the
So,
Portland Trailblazers have a ring,
all
right? I
right.
don't
So
know.
then
Yeah.
the next thing, they are fourth all time on the season point differential. So they outscored their opponents by 11 points, which is trailing, and I'll go on this one, the 97, 71, 72 Los Angeles Lakers, the Milwaukee Bucks in 70, 71, and the Chicago Bulls. So they trail those teams. That's okay. But then when we get to the playoffs, the Warriors were beating their opponents by 13.5. So they're actually second all time for like the best finals run ever. Then when you go through it, uh, if not for that injury, they would have three-peated with the greatest win percentage of all time. So they, over 3 years, won 80% of their games, which has never been done, including the three-peats that you're referencing. And not to discredit the era of the 90s, but that was an era of expansion. So a lot of teams were added to the league in a short period of time. There were bad teams in the NBA back then. There weren't talented players on every single team. There is just more talent in the league these days. There is just more talent in the league
So
these
so
days.
you're succeeding in convincing me that the Warriors, with KD when he joined them, is potentially the second greatest team of all time. But there's not a single statistic here that's going to suggest otherwise, that they're greater than the 72-10 Bulls, which obviously got a ring as well.
Let's move on to the next team.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist in giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.